Tony's catching up with Claire for one last meeting before heading off to the Dakar, and he's brought his assistant Kiki with him. It's time to report back on the progress he's made. But as always, the best laid plans are always adaptable.
Programmes, I think it's 16 modules that they do, and out of those 16, I think there's 3 he's doing now.
And that sort of led to some quite significant overhauls of what it is that we want to do.
It's good to have a plan, but the plan's flexible enough to go in any direction we need to take it in, because it's going to evolve as you get yourself out there a bit.
And that's quite nice, because that's sort of the same as what the military plan was. So, no plan survives contact.
So far, we've produced the first 90-day plan, which was really getting the business up and running as a business. So we needed a website, we needed some marketing material, we needed business cards. He actually brought in Kiki to work alongside him as his assistant to help with some of that detail, because he needs somebody that is keeping a continuous presence in the market, sending out the brochure, booking the next school. Because what happens with businesses, and this is what typically happens with business owners, is they're so busy doing the stuff that they're not planning the next thing, or they're not continually marketing. So the business has big peaks and big troughs.
Tony's overall plan to focus on public speaking is taking shape. But Claire's keen to test where Tony's racing fits in.
It's a story that not many people can do. So therefore it's an exciting kind of hook. Now, I could just talk about the one time I did Dakar, but if I can maintain a presence doing that sort of racing, then it's always a new story. It's never the same thing twice.
Your team is definitely in it,
Yeah. The cars ship on Thursday, that's why it's manic. So I'm going out to the garage after this.
Right.
To
How many cars in this year?
2 cars, 1 truck.
I do quite a lot of work with the Institute of Directors, and it struck me that Tony would be an ideal candidate to come along to one of our future meetings to talk about leadership and his own experiences. So we are having an event which will be certainly one of the first times I've actually witnessed Tony in person presenting to a group of business leaders. Yes, I think how he does at something like that will be a key performance indicator, and it's coming up, quite soon. For Tony, it will be one of the first he's done with a group of directors of large corporations and businesses.
Tony's at the Race to Recovery base in Hampshire, where they're preparing the cars for the Dakar Rally. He's also playing host to potential new team members as part of a recruitment drive.
Usually the night before, you'll kind of do your visa, or whatever it is, the paperwork, and then they'll sort of send someone from the border agency to the bivouac, so you do it there. And you get there and you just literally hand over a piece of paper and stuff like that. So really cool. It is very swept up. It's a very well organised race, and from that point of view, safety levels are way higher than pretty much any other race you're going to see. It's staggering how good it is.
It's a very busy time for him. So how does he feel things are going?
Having Claire around at Action Coach has given me the ability to look at things and say, actually, you shouldn't do everything that comes your way. Don't overcook it. Everyone, when they run a business, it is an incredibly lonely and isolating place to be, because that is the nature of leadership. You have no one below you who you can moan about things to, because you are the role model. It is your business. So having someone who's a coach, someone who's got business experience in a successful business, I would say is vital to your own state of mind and to be able to make rational, logical decisions. I've been very lucky to have the training and the help and assistance I've had so far. And I think more than that is the stuff that's still to come. When I face new hurdles in business or the situation changes, I can still talk and get that encouragement that I need as well.
While Tony's away in the South American desert, let's return to Parag and his client Louis. When Louis first started working with Parag, he was struggling to manage the pressures of running the business, and his personal life was beginning to suffer. So how did they turn things around?
Well, at the beginning it was clear that there was some work to be done to gain control of cash flow in particular, and then the other areas of the business, of course, would take more time. But I'd say certainly within the first 3 months, I felt happier. And within the first 6 months, I can honestly say that I had more time to myself because I knew what the priorities were for the business. So that was like a light bulb moment.
Louis' personal interests were absolutely important to him. And the main way we've been able to achieve that is by coaching Louis on effectively his leadership and management skills so that he could empower his second in command in the business, a lady called Edwina, to effectively run a lot of the day-to-day operations for him.
Louis' role has changed significantly in that he's not involved in client campaigns. He's involved in the pitch process at the beginning, but even that largely is left to myself and the team. He'll do final sign-off, and it's allowed him to focus on the business and making sure that we're actually selling and marketing the business in a way that we would recommend to our clients. So, practicing what we preach.
They have a very complementary set of skills that when merged together as a leadership team really creates a huge synergy in the business, because they effectively, two heads become like 4 people, because it's just fantastic the output they can produce because they are very different.
Entrepreneurs are very creative people and have brilliant minds, but they're not necessarily organised or like the more kind of rigorous side of business. The most successful businesses have 2 different types of personalities at the top, an A type and a B type, because no one can do everything.
Time to yourself in running a business, and particularly for a creative person, is paramount. Without headspace or perspective, you can't come up with creative solutions for either clients or creative strategies to optimize efficiency of the business. Now it's like a quiet revolution. We have come over 24 months to a position where I have the opportunity now to take time away from the business and to come up with new ideas and new solutions for increasing business efficiency and profitability.
I think probably coaching with Parag, but also the coaching that Parag did with Louis before, has had a dramatic effect on my work-life balance and therefore my health. It's transformed my life, I'd say, and I'm a much happier person. So.
Louis has an agency, something he can be proud of in terms of the quality of what they do, but also something that delivers the return to him as the owner that he wanted to get from it, which is not a job. It was effectively an asset that can largely work without him and that has an intrinsic value to it.
I mean, he's completely empowered again in his life, and his business is something that you can see he feels exceptionally proud of, because he's managed to turn it into something that is still exceptionally successful, but without him being sat in the middle of it, and the business being reliant on him. It's an operation in itself. It runs itself in the way that it needs to, and he can add value to it, but he's not required to be there in the same way.
Or to be there at all, in fact, because Louis now works from Spain 1 or 2 weeks a month as a lifestyle choice. Tony's back from the Dakar rally, but the team had mixed fortunes.
Dakar 2014 was a real success for us. We got the race truck across the line to make the first amputee in a truck category to complete the Dakar rally, which was a fantastic result. At a personal level, we didn't finish the race again, which is frustrating. This time, doubly frustrating was the fact we were doing really well. We'd made up 45 positions in 1 day, and given the age of the car, that was quite a staggering achievement. It was a bloody hot Dakar this year, and the engine temperatures were wild, but we were kept on top of it. Unfortunately, a small roll in the dunes resulted in a cracked frame, which was something none of us were expecting, certainly at the speed that we rolled the vehicle. So it was a real shame, but it has given us, I don't know, a bit of a drive to realise that A, we can compete, and we can compete on the right level, which is great. And on the other side, it's given us more of a focus on how to change elements within the team
and take lessons from this year's Dakar to make the team stronger and better in the future.
It's the evening of Tony's talk at the Institute of Directors, so he's off to Twickenham.
Well, tonight we're at the Institute of Directors at the branch of West Thames in Twickenham, where Tony is doing a speech to a group of directors on leadership and having a positive outlook when things go terribly wrong. So this is a real milestone for Tony to be coming and talking to a group like this.
To pass over to our speaker this evening, Tony.
To explain things, I started at Sandhurst 2 days before the Twin Towers got hit. Now, I was blown up on May 21st, 2009. My daughter was 2 weeks old. There was very much this feeling that I wanted to compete again. I wanted to be part of a team again. I wanted to feel inspired, not only by my own actions, but the actions of others.
Because the level of different people in that room was a great swathe of, I suppose, the business environment, I had to think very carefully about what it was that I wanted to say. So it was almost like a taster session, and I think I've been very hopeful that it did go down well, and you know, we've had follow-on subsequent business around it as well, which is great.
I don't know quite with Tony yet what he sees as the end game. That, you know, the TED Talk is obviously just a one-off. I mean, it will be a sort of culmination of having done a number of successful talks and people having recommended him and great testimonials.
I'm a big believer that training develops and improves people. There is no such thing as a 100% finished article. Even a coach will still be learning things. And I think that's important that we never forget that we are constantly learning and things develop and change. So, do I feel fully armed? No. Do I feel prepared for things that can be thrown at me? Yes.
What Tony ultimately ends up doing, whether that's working for himself, running this business, or it's doing something else, I don't think is clear yet. I think it's far too early to know that. But I'm sure whatever he decides, he will be very, very good at it.
Next time on Silent Partner.
That you want to set up your business as what being the best in the world for what you do.
A great many people still don't understand just what coaching is and what it can bring to their business. But if you look at the link between performance and achievement in sport, it all starts to make sense.
Waitrose and Tesco's actually approached us.
To be a leader, you have to be a role model for your team.
The reply I get from clients after 3 months in is, I wish I'd found this 20 years ago.
It's been amazing. It's just taken a huge weight off my shoulders.
Silent Partner is brought to you by Action Coach, the world's #1 business coaching firm.